All right, here we go. What do you think about a little bit of drama here in Washington right now as you're taking a look at the Capitol, where Democrats came to the rescue just moments ago and voted with Republicans, many of them, to vote the debt deal forward. Now, lawmakers are about 3 hours or so away from making a final vote on that bill. Leaders on both sides of the aisle attempting to sell their bipartisan agreement in a last-ditch effort to avoid a government default. One the U.S. Treasury says could happen come Monday if nothing is done. Now, despite the move forward this afternoon, the bill faces some Republican resistance, Democratic resistance, too, really. And we'll hear from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle coming up. Welcome to The Hill on NewsNation. I'm Blake Berman. Great panel today. Joining us once again, Lauren Wright, Associate Research Scholar and Lecturer in Politics and Public Affairs at Princeton University. Chris Steyerwalt, NewsNation political editor and senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Michael Blake, the CEO of Atlas Strategy Group and a former Democratic New York State representative. And Mark Short, the former chief of staff to the Vice President Mike Pence. Any news on that front today, Mark?
I've seen some news.
You've seen some news? We'll get into it in just a moment. But first, we begin in the House of Representatives, just hours from tonight's vote on the debt ceiling package. The deal drawing major criticism from some of Kevin McCarthy's Republican colleagues, the Speaker of the House. Joining us now is Congressman Andy Biggs, who is a no vote on this deal. You just voted no, Congressman, in what was basically sort of setting up tonight's vote. Has Kevin McCarthy, the House Speaker, the top Republican here in Washington, has he let you down, sir?
I don't know if I'd say he's let me down. This is kind of what I expected, Blake.
What do you mean by that?
This is what I suspected would happen shortly after the November election. And this is one of my concerns with the Speaker, is that he has a tendency to cross over and leave conservatives behind. And so this is almost exactly what I expected to have happen.
You know, one of your colleagues, Congressman Ken Buck, said up next is to have the discussion for a motion to vacate, which is essentially getting the wheels in motion to potentially challenge Kevin McCarthy for his speakership. Is that the next step here? Are we possibly watching the beginnings of a gut check for many Republicans and Kevin McCarthy's future?
I would be dishonest if I didn't tell you that I've heard rumblings to that extent. There's not been a lot, but I've had several people express that sentiment. But I'll tell you, Blake, my bigger concern is what has happened to the coalition that was formed last January and looked like it was going along pretty well for about 4.5, 5 months. And the question, I think, going forward is this a sign of a new coalition between the Speaker, a significant number of Republicans, and Democrats? That is the question that I'm asking right now.
So are you saying that the Speaker's kind of on the side of the White House and Democrats here?
No, that's not what I said at all. What I said is, do we have a new coalition that's formed that isn't the entire conference anymore? We had tremendous unity, and people were working together, communicating. And the question is this deal on the debt ceiling, has it shaken that and actually maybe put a split or a rift in that coalition that had been existing in our conference?
I guess just to put a bow on this real quick, do you think Kevin McCarthy has a job here in a few weeks?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's probably still the Speaker in a couple weeks, 3 weeks, okay. 4 weeks.
What do you anticipate? What are you hearing right now? We just saw this test vote, not really a test vote, but sort of like the first hurdle that needs to go forward. Does this pass through the House of Representatives tonight as you hear it and you talk to your colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle?
Yeah, and the rules vote's a very different animal. I've heard from many people who said that they were going to Republicans who would vote for the rule, but they're going to vote against the bill. They don't like the bill, but they feel like they felt an obligation to vote for the rule. I also have talked to many of my Democrat friends, and we believe that there's going to be 100 to 150 Democrats that are going to vote for this bill. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 300 vote bill, 300 vote in favor of the bill.
Wow.
From most equal from both sides.
That'd be a big number, because we're sitting here wondering if this is, how they're going to get past 218. But if they get to that 300, that would easily clear it. Congressman Andy Biggs, Thank you very much for your time, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.